The election day descended into chaos in Tanzania as hundreds took to the streets protesting the exclusion of President Samia Suluhu Hassan's two biggest rivals from the presidential race. Protests broke out in Tanzania's main city of Dar es Salaam and several other cities on polling day. The police reportedly fired gunshots and tear gas to disperse the protesters, with unconfirmed reports of 70 people being dead.
The streets of Tanzania are alive with defiance. Smoke rises from barricades, shouts echo through city squares, and a nation's anger pours into the open. Citizens, both men and women, storm a gas station owned by a political elite, seizing what has been denied to them, cooking gas, a symbol of survival. This is more than protest. This is a statement. The people will no longer be silenced. On the 30th of October, Tanzania erupted. Across Mwanza, Dar es Salaam, and Dodoma, citizens risked their lives to challenge a political system they say has failed them. Curfews, military crackdowns, and internet blackouts could not stop them. Today, we dive deep into the stories behind these streets of fire, examining the politics, the history, and the stakes for a nation at the brink. Welcome to the African Discovery, where we uncover Africa's untold stories and explore the deeper meaning behind today's biggest events. In Mwanza, on the shores of Lake Victoria, hundreds of protesters broke into a gas station owned by a Chama Cha Mapinduzi. Cylinders of blue gas, some full, some empty, were carried away by men and women alike. "These are our taxes," one protester shouted. "Take everything." Elsewhere,
hizi ni hela zetu kumanina, hizi kodi zetu hizi, beba zote mama, choma na kituo hiki kumanina zawa, beba mali, choma mzigo, tuondoke manina. Kodi zetu hizi.
roads were barricaded with burning tires, government posters torn down, and clashes erupted with police, who fired tear gas and live ammunition. Dar es Salaam's major streets were blocked. In northern Mwanza, gunfire echoed as people fled the chaos. Even across the border into Kenya, the unrest spilled over, leaving to dead in running battles with police. Amidst it all, citizens used walkie-talkie apps like Zello to coordinate a digital lifeline in a country where the internet had been disrupted to silence voices and control the narrative. To understand this moment, we must understand Tanzanian politics. Chama Cha Mapinduzi, the party of the revolution, has ruled Tanzania since independence. Its dominance has defined the nation's political landscape, shaping policies, institutions, and even daily life.
Samia Suluhu Hassan, naapa kwamba nitakuwa mwaminifu kwa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania.
President Samia Suluhu Hassan, Tanzania's first female president, took office in 2021 after the sudden death of John Magufuli. Initially praised for easing repression, her government has since tightened control, restricting opposition, targeting critics, and limiting free speech.
They have been using very repressive laws that are very vague, applying them differently to the opposition, to the citizens, to the journalists, just to keep them repressed. So with this human rights crisis, we are seeing silenced voices, we are seeing a repressed opposition, and we're seeing very little civic participation.
Well, there are 16 other candidates. The main opposition leader has been in jail since April, facing treason charges, and also the presidential candidate of the third biggest party, ACT Wazalendo, has been disqualified from running. So basically, she is running unopposed. So that basically leaves, nobody else up there.
The recent election sparked outrage. Tundu Lissu, the main opposition leader, was jailed on treason charges. Another contender, Luhaga Mpina of ACT Wazalendo, was disqualified on legal technicalities. 16 minor parties contested the vote, but none with substantial public support. When the Electoral Commission announced early results, Samia led with nearly 95%, in some regions, too many. It was proof of what they had feared, a rigged system designed to secure the ruling party's grip. What is at stake goes beyond politics. This is about trust, fairness, and the very soul of Tanzanian democracy. Citizens facing the weight of history and an unbroken chain of CCM dominance feel their voices silenced. Families and communities live under curfew, while hospitals overflow with the injured. Reports suggest over 30 protesters have been killed, with hundreds more wounded or detained. Business owners watch as streets burn and their livelihoods crumble. The internet blackout has made communication difficult, but also symbolic. Control of information has become a weapon used to isolate communities and prevent accountability. Yet, Tanzanians persist, fearless, defiant, determined to be seen and heard.
We have finally made it, and we're ready to march forward. The president should get out of the way. We have been silent for so long. What have we been doing?
National leaders describe the unrest as caused by bad characters who wish ill for this country. Military Chief Gen Jacob Mukunda justified the crackdown as a defense of property and order. Meanwhile, Amnesty International calls for restraint, condemning civilian and police deaths as deeply disturbing. Internationally, the European Union labeled the elections as fraudulent, a process manipulated over months. The U.S. Embassy warned travelers of disruptions. Kenya cautioned its citizens against crossing into the border town of Namanga, where businesses had come to a halt. Even as authorities enforce curfews and police barricades, Tanzanians continue to push back, showing the world that civil unrest is not merely a reaction. It is a demand for justice. Tanzania is not alone in this struggle. Across Africa, from Kenya to Cameroon, citizens have risen against systems that seem untouchable. In Cameroon, youths took to the streets against Paul Biya's re-election. In Sudan, protesters demanded freedom from military control. In each case, government sought to suppress dissent through force, censorship, and arrests. Yet the people persist. History reminds us that these moments are transformative. When citizens rise, the outcome is never just political. It reshapes society, law, and identity. Tanzania stands at a crossroads. Its path uncertain, but its voice undeniable. What comes next is unclear. Will President Samia consolidate power, using curfews and crackdowns to maintain order? Or will Tanzanians continue their fight for accountability, pressing for elections that reflect their will? One thing is certain: the country has awakened. The streets, once quiet, now echo with the rhythm of dissent. The events of October 30th may mark a turning point, a challenge to the notion that CCM's dominance is unshakable. In Mwanza, Dar es Salaam, Dodoma, and beyond, Tanzanians have shown courage, determination, and a refusal to be silenced. Their struggle is not just about elections. It is about dignity, representation, and the right to a future they can shape. You've been watching The African Discovery, uncovering Africa's untold stories. Subscribe for more deep insights shaping the continent's tomorrow. To watch protest of Gen Z uprising in Cameroon against Paul Biya re-election, click the thumbnail on screen.